Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the board meeting of Palm Springs Unified School District. May we get a roll call, please?
Member Espericueta?
Here.
Member Cornett?
Here.
Member Wood?
Here.
Member Durrell?
Here.
And Member Girardi.
Thank you. Would you
Oh,
please
and I'm
stand for
sorry,
the Pledge of Allegiance,
Two more.
as led by our student board member, Sophia Gonzalez.
Place your right hand over your heart. Ready? Begin.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may now be seated.
Next, we'll have our mission statement that will be recited by our student board member, Kiona Corona.
All members of Palm Springs Unified School District are united in our commitment to equity. We create deep, meaningful learning opportunities, build professionalism, and engage parents and community to ensure success for all students. All students graduate with the skills, capacities, and confidence needed to succeed in a rapidly changing world. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiona. That brings us to item 7, report on closed session items. Member Jarrell, do we have anything to report tonight?
Yes, I do. In closed session, the board took action to authorize the administration to issue a 30-day notice of dismissal to certificated employee number 227221 in accordance with Education Code Section 44934, and directed the superintendent or designee to send out appropriate legal notices. The roll call vote was passed unanimously. The motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Item 8 is approval of the agenda. May we please get a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
So moved.
How about a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 9 is a special recognition. The governing board wishes to recognize and commend the following employees of the month of February 2022. To start us off, we have a few short videos produced by our student media interns.
Hi, I'm Laura Musel, Executive Director of Student Services for Palm Springs Unified School District, and I'm pleased to announce that Audria Balsteros is our Classified Employee of the Month. Audria is an office specialist bilingual here in the district office and Student Services Division, but for the past several months, she's been acting as an administrative assistant. Audria has learned new tasks such as budgeting for the department, employee reimbursements, conference and travel, so she stepped outside her normal role of student records and working with the public to supporting staff inside the Student Services Department. We're excited that Audria stepped up and took on this role. She was a little nervous at the beginning, but she did an amazing job. She learned all kinds of new skills that she can use ongoing to support Palm Springs Unified School District. Thanks, Audria, for stepping up and working with your colleagues and our department to support all students and staff and families here in Palm Springs.
Good evening. I'm Juanita Perez-Chica, principal here at Cielo Vista Charter School located in beautiful Palm Springs, California. I'm here tonight to just share some news with you. I have selected and nominated Felicity Ray Woodson, our Playworks coach here at Cielo Vista, as our Classified Employee of the Month. There are many reasons that I selected Felicity with this honor. To begin, her passion that she brings every day to the schoolhouse is just admiring. She's a champion for kids each day. She's a champion for all of our staff members. Whatever anybody needs, she's always up for a challenge and willing to do any job and will get the job done right. She steps out of her comfort zone to learn and grow, and just recently she is working on her credential to become a PE teacher. So we are so excited for her to join our Palm Springs Unified School District team as one of our physical education teachers in the near future. Just recently, with all of the changes during COVID, she has stepped up to the plate and she is our PPE, I would say just a manager of managing all of our supplies, getting that out to all the classrooms, and she ensures that that's done on a weekly basis and that kids and staff all have the materials that they need in their classroom. During distance learning, she really stepped up to the plate in helping organizing educational materials that were being sent home to the families, and she did it all with a smile on her face. And as I said before, she never says no and gets the job done with a big smile on her face. So these are the reasons, because of her passion, for her work ethic, her dedication to all children and all staff members. She definitely makes Cielo Vista Charter School a very special place to be, and these are the reasons why I nominated Felicity Ray Woodson as our classified employee of the month. Good evening, Juanita Perez-Chica here, school principal at the fabulous Cielo Vista Charter School. I'm here tonight because I have nominated Araceli Wagner, our second grade teacher, as our certificated employee of the month. There are many reasons why I have selected Mrs. Wagner for this recognition. To begin, I just, in one word, to describe her, she is a champion. She champions every day for all of her students and serves as a facilitator in her classroom where kids really can think outside of the box and own their own learning. She also is our lead for our Student Lighthouse team, which enable our students to build leadership skills each and every day, and really serves as a model for that. Mrs. Wagner really enjoys teaching. She comes to school every day with a smile. She influences others around her, always with her positive can-do attitude. She just, serves as that teacher leader that will do anything that kids need. She also serves as a collaborative member on her team with her dynamic second grade team, just making all dreams happen here at Cielo Vista for her second graders and all second graders here at school. And these are the reasons why I've selected Mrs. Wagner as our certificated employee of the month.
Well, thank you to Laura and Juanita for those introductions. Will Audrea Ballesteros, Felicity Ray Woodson, and Araceli Wagner please join our board members Tim Wood and Karen Cornett in front of the podium, please?
Start with her.
Audrey's here in the flower shirt.
Audrea Ballesteros from Student Services. We wish to honor you as Classified Employee of the Month and thank you for your continued service and dedication to our students and community over the past 5 years. Is there anyone in the audience you wish to recognize?
Well, I think in turn I'd like to say thank you as well. Isn't it a nice feeling to be recognized for one's work? I think it helps also that I definitely enjoy my work. I enjoy the people that I work with and my department heads. So I think by by receiving this plaque. It's really because of the support I received from my department. So thank you.
Anyone you want to?
Oh, Lisa and my boss, Laura. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Do I sit down?
You have to stay up here.
Oh, okay.
Don't run away. Araceli Wagner from Cielo Vista Charter, second grade teacher. Thank you for supporting our students and families. Congratulations. Is there anyone in the audience you would like to recognize?
Thank you. Yes, there's a lot of people I want to recognize in the audience, and I thank you all for your support. My daughter Sophia is here. Thank you for coming. My husband I know is watching. I want to thank him. Even though he's not here, he is kind of here. I want to thank Juanita and Jessica for just being supportive. Kristen, my para, thank you for all your work. My students that are here, my past students, and my future students, and my current students, thank you, because this is for you, and I'm here because of you. Thank you.
You want to read this one?
I'm good. This is working.
Okay.
Hi, Felicity. Ray Woodson, Cielo Vista Charter, and you are the Playworks teacher there. Thank you for your dedication to our students. Your hard work and enthusiasm do not go unnoticed. Is there anyone in the audience you would like to recognize?
Yeah, Miss everybody, all my CVC family have been really supportive. I'm literally just getting off the softball field, and I appreciate everybody. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Well, stay up here if you're going to get your picture taken.
Congratulations, everybody. All right, next up, we're going to have a presentation on the late start legislation update. This has to do with OE10. Oh, thank you. I am so sorry. I skipped the line item. Which brings us to our student board member reports. First up, we will have Sophia Gonzalez from Cathedral City High School.
It's all good to go, right? Okay. Alrighty. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sophia Gonzalez from CCHS. First off, thank you Superintendent Sweezy and board for the opportunity to speak at tonight's meeting. Now let's take a look at some of the exciting things we have going on at CCHS. First off, ASB just held our second dance, the Winter Ball, A Night of a Thousand Lights, this past Saturday at the Palm Springs Air Museum right out here. The event was put on by the ASB senior class, who sold over 500 tickets, which was very impressive. We were very proud of them. It wouldn't have been possible without them, so it was pretty amazing. And Winter Ball Week was also full of festivities, such as hallway decorations and a Spear Week. And here's the Spear Week. The days included Sleepless Cities Pajama Day, a Tacky Tourist Day, White Lie Day, City Fashion Day, and Support the Court Day. ASB also held a Winter Ball proposal contest where students sent in their proposals to our Instagram account, and the most liked post won 2 free dance tickets. The winner, you can see all the pictures there. Somebody wrote it on their coffee. Somebody else made different posters. This one kid lined the hallway with it was really cute, with roses, and then it led to the senior stage, and they asked their date there. And then the winner wrote it on their head, so that was fun. And then we also had the Winter Ball Rally at the football stadium, and here's some pictures from that. We had performances from the Winter Ball Court, dance team, our ballet folklorico, and cheer. The performances were definitely top notch. We had one kid who dressed like Spider-Man, and we had another one who performed with his whole band, which was pretty surreal, and somebody else did like a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air themed one, so that was pretty fun. And then after the rally, we had Ben and Jerry's come and they did a fundraiser with us. So we pre-sold tickets, and then students could also buy them there. And that was always very successful. We've done it in the past, and students always love it, so it's a very fun fundraiser. And our Heal and Data students also did virtual presentations to middle schoolers over the course of 3 days. Oh wait, whoops, that was the next slide. Here, I'll do this one first. So we also had our senior nights. So our soccer, water polo, and basketball sports teams just finished the season's league play, and they've all had their senior night festivities to celebrate the last game. So here are some of these pictures. And then also tomorrow, our admin is celebrating our fall sports by doing a luncheon. And then now for the middle school Zoom tours. So our Heal and Data students gave 3-day-long tours of their academies by showcasing what we have to bring to middle school students. And they're also preparing for their SLC and Skills USA competitions later this year. Then our yearbook students have been working on their class superlatives and the yearbook. And there were lots of fun sections in there, like Always Together, Best Dressed, Worst Case of Senioritis, and Most Spirited. Our Kindness Club also started selling their Valentine's baskets, which will be anonymously sent out on the 14th. They sell them at lunch, and they're $10, and you can choose from 6 different objects, like candies or a balloon. And also, in exciting news, our morning news broadcast is returning after 2 years to give students important announcements on school-related updates. And it's called Behind the Blue. So students have missed that a lot, so it'll be fun to have it back. All right, it's most definitely an exciting time for CCHS as we head into the second half of the school year. So I hope you enjoyed the insight into what's going on. And thank you. Have a great night. There we go.
Thank you, Sophia. Very well done. Next, we have from Palm Springs High School, Kiona Corona.
Hi, everyone. I hope everyone's having a good night tonight. Thank you for letting me have the opportunity to speak. My name is Kiona Corona, and I'm from Palm Springs High School. We don't have a lot of stuff coming up, but I'm excited to tell you what we have so far. So this week is Kindness Week, and today was PJ Day, and it's like today's Tuesday. Today was Twin Day. Yesterday was PJ Day. Tomorrow's Short and Sweet, Wear Brown. And Thursday is relationship status. So students get to wear white, pink, or red to show off if they're single, in a situationship or a relationship. Next is our band, the events they're holding or they're being a part of in the next few months. So as you can see, they're performing for Tour de Jazz, Tour de Palm Springs, participating in Black History Day Parade. They're hosting with Daniel Glass March 18th and 19th and having a concert at the Richard Center at 2 p.m. And we're hosting a PS Factor, which is a talent show for the students to show off their skills, February 16th. And if anyone is looking for community service hours, contact Dr. Powell on February 12th, this upcoming Saturday. And so our winter formal dance is in a few weeks, and our theme is Enchanted Forest at the Margaritaville, 8 to 12. Thank you. I know it's short. Sorry, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiona. Next up is item 11, which will be a presentation on the late start legislation update OE10, and I believe Dr. Murray is going to address this.
Yes, I am. Actually, it's Dr. Kovach and me. We'll tag team this one. It's always tough to follow our student board member reports, I will add. They always do a great job. All right. First off, I'd like to thank Dr. Kulian for the work that she's done on this and in informing the board of our plans for next year. So thanks, Dr. Kulian. A little background. What tonight we'd like to do is review the information that was shared with you by Dr. Kulian on May 11th, and then review our start times for next school year. First off, the reason we have to change our start times for next year is due to legislation signed by Governor Newsom back in 2019 from Senate Bill 328. It's a bill that actually Senator Portantino had proposed many years prior to Governor Newsom signing it into law. Governor Brown at the time always felt the need to give school districts latitude in implementing these kinds of laws, but Governor Brown was convinced that it was time for this law to be passed. So it becomes effective in the 22-23 school year, and that's, of course, next year. And really the crux to the law deals with middle and high schools. So the law says we shall not start middle school prior to 8 a.m. and shall not start high schools prior to 8:30 a.m. So that's those are really the parameters we need to work around. So really the major impact here for us is transportation. As you know, we contract out with transportation, and our struggle this year, and it's predicted it would continue, is school bus drivers and finding enough school bus drivers to make sure that we have enough drivers to serve our students. When the school year started this year, we had 83 routes, and that included about 70% special education routes and 30% general education routes. And that has been consolidated down to 72 routes because of the bus driver shortage. So that's truly an issue. And so the schedule we're presenting to you tonight for next year is specifically due primarily to the transportation issues that we're dealing with. The other part of this obviously would involve nutrition services. We, as you know, we serve breakfast and lunch to our students. Obviously, this schedule really pushes everything back, especially for middle and high school, so it would definitely impact times for breakfast and lunch, but nothing that our nutrition services department doesn't think that we can certainly handle. So with respect to the planning considerations, what we'll be doing is moving the kind of reversing things. So elementary school will be starting earlier, and then our plan is to have middle and high school start at the same time. We're going to keep our Wednesday late starter early release schedule for collaboration, and then continue with all-day TK. Special education, again, as I alluded to, we do transport a number of students in special education, and so that will continue. Another thing that will be of I won't say concern, but consideration certainly will be our after-school sports schedules for our high school sports teams. Right now, we've been able to, in many cases, have students maybe miss a sixth period to then hop on a bus and go and play a match or a game. This might cause that to maybe include a fifth and sixth period to accommodate enough time to be able to travel to a school and still be able to partake in a match or a game while there's still daylight. Many of our sports and sporting venues, of course, don't have lights, so the day itself is not going to change, and we're going to have to accommodate for that. I do know that so far this year, Desert Sands decided to implement SB 328 this year, and so there has been some adjustments, but all the athletic directors in the Valley have adjusted accordingly, so it's definitely been manageable. All right, going to turn it over to Dr. Kovach to bring us home here.
Thank you, Dr. Murray. So what I want to do is just summarize really what the rationale was behind the decision that we made or determine the start times. And of course, first and foremost, it is based on legislation. So we had to move from earlier starts for our middle and high school to a later start due to that legislation. And also, transportation is a factor, and just the fact that at this point we didn't have the number of drivers that we would need to adjust those times, we had to make a decision in our planning sooner than later so that we could communicate what those start times were going to be. And also, we needed to ensure that there was an hour in between those stops from elementary and secondary to ensure that we didn't need to double up some of the routes or that students would be tardy due to that situation. And we also really want to highlight that we are going to re-examine this next year in preparation for the 23-24 school year. So these are our start times for next year. High school and middle school will begin at 8:45, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Cielo Vista Charter will remain 8 o'clock. One thing I really want to note here is our elementary schools. They will begin school at 7:45 a.m., and that means all of our elementary schools will be on the same schedule next year. And we've also included our Wednesday start times. As Dr. Murray noted, that our middle and high schools, we have here high school will continue with the late start, which will be determined based on their regular 8:45 start time and what that late start would be based on the recommended instructional minutes. A middle school, we will determine that as we continue planning for their Wednesday start time. Elementary school will start at 7:45 as they will on the other days, and Cielo Vista Charter will be at 8 o'clock. And we'd like to open up now for questions from the board, or if you need any clarification.
I just have a question about zero period. It can continue as long as it doesn't interfere? with-
Yes.
So
Yes,
it-
zero
we-
period
we-
can continue.
We can still have zero, okay, thank you.
Any other questions? You have any questions?
I was just wondering, and you probably don't have this, the instructional minutes in a day for each school, high school, middle, and elementary, will that change as a result of this bill 328 at all, or
No.
that pretty much stays the same?
Yeah,
Stays.
that'll stay the same. The instructional minutes, it for middle and high school just pushes the start time back, but the day length would remain the same.
Thank you.
Can you remind me, what time does elementary start now?
We have 3 schools that are early start. Agua Caliente begins at 7:45, Landau and Rio Vista at 7:35, and all of our other elementary schools begin at 8:40. So now they will at least be all on the same schedule.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you both. That brings us up to item number 12, public comments. Clerk Jarrell, have we received any email comments today?
President Girardi, we have received no email comments.
Thank you. Do we have any telephonic comments this
We
evening?
do not have any telephonic comments.
Do we have anybody that wishes to address the board in person? Okay. Going forward, that takes us to item 13, board member comments. Does anybody have anything they want to share this evening?
I want to thank our school board, our student board members, Sophie and Keanu, for their excellent school reports. It's always nice to hear from our high school students and what's going on at our high schools. I was fortunate enough to attend the first meeting of our new Native American Parent Advisory Council this last February 1st. All of our families, of course, are valued and encouraged to be involved with their children's education. The council's next meeting is March 1st. And I'd like to thank Christina Alanis for organizing this parent council. I was also fortunate to attend the District 2nd Equity Conference last Saturday. the information and sessions presented really were excellent. And I hope that some of them, I know they were recorded and maybe can be presented to other staff members and community members. And I'd like to thank our African American Parent Advisory Council and the Parent Engagement Center for putting that on. And I also attended the Riverside County School Board's Members Association meeting on January 26th. And Jeff Vodka and from RCOE and Chris Reef from CSBA provided an update to the proposed governor's budget. And I think that's all. Again, thank parents and staff and community members for their continued support for our district and their students. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Member Esperaquita.
Hi, good evening. Thank you, Sophia and Karina, for your good presentation. All the time you do good job. And I the same board member Karen. I attend Equity Community Conference in the last Saturday, and I was impressed in the starting with the Agua Caliente Cahuira tribal bird singers. It was a good detail from the Agua Caliente tribe. And I see the one number that I see of participants was 117. That the number, the higher number that I see. It was a good turnout. And I share with the 4 board members, Dr. Suisi, staff member, community members. It was like 3 hours and good conversation. Also, the same day, I attended the Black History Committee Gala in the Hilton Hotel. So it was a good event to honor a special community members that do good job for the community, for the children. And also in the last, and yesterday, I attended a workshop for parents of children with a special need, and I attended was a good presentation and explanation hosted by Ruby Rivera and Jim. Thank you for the explanation about how the LCAP assigned money to the special education children. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergio. Tim?
Sure. Just 2 things really quick. First, I want to say thanks to Joan because she always makes sure that we're scheduled and have the right materials in place and all that for going out and talking to different organizations in our community. And she had put me in front of the Rotary Club in Rancho Mirage this last week. And it was just such a nice way to connect with another part of our community. And they do so much for us, and every one of their chapters around here donate books to the schools, and I just think we don't say it thank you enough for the community involvement of all of those types of organizations, so I really wanted to recognize them and say thank you. The second part is a little bit more personal. So board member Cornett and I are working on revising some of the board policies, and so she came by my office this week and spent a couple of hours, and we talked through several things and made some notes and got a lot done, but that wasn't the fun part. I think that sometimes we forget what an impact we make on the lives of the students in our district. And it was never more clear to me than not only when she walked through the office that one of the employees said, "You were my principal." And you were my son's principal. And it was just this really interesting, fun, nice connection to see how the impact that board member Cornett has made on the lives of so many kids around here. And it really was kind of fun. And then after you left, the part you didn't hear, was she could not stop talking about how much it meant to have you, just in our office. And it was like a visiting celebrity had come through. It was just so fun and nice. And so I just really appreciated it, and so I had to share that with everybody.
Well, thank you, and I also have to say, both of our student board members are former students at Sunny Sands.
All right. The legacy continues, huh? Yeah. Member Jarrell?
All right, I'm so excited to hear that you, Sophie, have been the Behind the Blue coming back, and your broadcast is amazing, and you're going to do really well with it. And thank you again, Kiana, for Palm Springs High School's update. I had the opportunity to present to the Thousand Palms Community Council meeting on January 27th. And the meeting went kind of long, so I had a short bit of time to present and teach them about the district. And while I was waiting, I learned a lot about Thousand Palms community. And they have meetings in March, May, September, November. And I encourage all of the members around the Thousand Palms area to attend the meetings. They're virtual, they're on Zoom, and learn about the Desert Recreation District activities. And then again, I learned about the American Hockey League, 32nd franchise, the Coachella Valley Firebirds. And they're going to be housed in Thousand Palms. And in the Acrisure Arena, 11,500 seat arena. And if we develop a district partnership with them, we could have hockey teams and we could have all kinds of great events. I'm just thinking of all the possibilities by us establishing a partnership with the new arena that's in Palm Springs Unified School District. So I'm excited to see the future of how we are going to make this partnership come alive. I'm excited to also know in the presentation I had information from Joan Boyko about our attendance and this first weeks in January, and it's so refreshing to see the dashboard and to see that our attendance rates are up and that we have more students attending every day. That's so positive. With that, again, back to Joan Boyko, she gave us coverage of our conference discussing cultural topics and differences, and that having her as a connector to this communication is so important. It's just so critical, and without her, the magic just doesn't happen. And so I give a kudos to her and all of the team with Dr. Malik Muhammad as a keynote, and all of the people that presented throughout the morning. This was the second annual conference. I'm excited to see more than one a year. I'm dreaming big, and I want to see equity grow in many directions, and that's what I think that our board members, Cornett and Mr. Wood, are working on. With that, we have a lot of people being recognized on Twitter and on our district website, Teachers of the Year, and congratulations to all of those new Teachers of the Year. And so with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Madonna. First, Sophia and Kiona, thank you very much. Your presentations were really well done. You kind of make me long for Spirit Week again. They sounded very, very fun. Also, bravo to the people that put on the Equity Conference. It was so well done, starting with the singers to welcome us in the morning. And Dr. Muhammad gave a very poignant and well-received opening remarks commentary. I tell you, I was so impressed, and I learned so much about how poverty affects education and student learning. And the man was just masterful. I also want to remind everybody that the district has an agreement with Food Now in Desert Hot Springs to provide 120 backpacks every weekend to students who need food over the weekend. And that agreement continues. And the Pontus family in Desert Hot Springs has donated $1,000 a month for this entire school year to help fund that program. So I want to reach out and thank them for their generosity. Really well needed. I also want to thank staff. I'm going on my 8th year here, and I've always wanted our study sessions to be more informal. in the round, so to speak, so we could have discussion, and Dr. Sweezy made that happen tonight, and I appreciate that effort and the effort of the maintenance staff to make it happen. I think that just lends for better dialogue amongst all of us, so we can understand where each of us are coming from. And then I'll just finish with Go Rams. Thank you.
Well, thank you, President Girardi. I just have a quick update tonight for the superintendent's report. I will start with the public health update and some good news to report this time. Excuse me. So at our last meeting, we had a case rate of 255 per 100,000 in Riverside County. And as of today, it's at 107.1 out of 100,000. And our positivity rate is down from almost 30% to 23%. Our current district dashboard shows 195 students and 19 staff members that currently are positive with COVID. And we continue to offer testing and vaccination clinics all across the district. So there's some very good news there that the rates are coming down in Riverside County, and that's being reflected at all of our schools across the district. I mentioned last board meeting that we were purchasing additional home tests for students, and those have arrived. We've distributed our staff tests, so thank you, Renee, and her department worked very hard to make that happen. And so each staff member has been given 2 tests for home use, and we will be giving students another round of home tests to take. So right now we're trying to determine when the best time for us to do that will be, but it will be coming soon, and so students will be bringing home at least one more COVID rapid test to use at home. I had a real special day today, so I just want to share that very quickly with the board and with the public. Last week, some classrooms at Sunny Sands were talking about kindness and for Kindness Week, and so they wrote letters to me expressing their gratitude and encouraging me to continue to be a kind leader, and to let me know that they were being very kind and that they liked that about our district. So that really warmed my heart. As you know, that's something I take very seriously in the district, is treating each other and treating ourselves with kindness and respect. So after I received these beautiful letters, some of which Joan Boyko will be posting on Facebook later, I went out to the school to answer some of their questions and thank them for their letters and encourage them to continue to practice kindness every single day. The letters were very beautiful. Again, talked about kindness, talked about me being a superintendent, thanked me for keeping our schools safe, and wanted to know important things like my favorite ice cream and how old I am. So I made sure I answered those questions when we went out. And thank you to Monica and Erica for giving me little goodie bags to take to the teachers to treat the students and thank them. And I promised that I would definitely be back. The Equity Conference has already been mentioned, but what a great day that was on Saturday. So proud of all of the work and all of the people who made that happen. And so I won't, again, go back into detail on that event. But another event that happened recently, in fact, member Espericueta and I were at the Every Student Succeeding Awards, sponsored by the Palm Springs Leadership Association, where one student from every school was honored for overcoming incredible odds. And again, that was a great ceremony. Very nice to be there with member Espericueta and also to celebrate students who have overcome some significant obstacles. In addition to that being such a great event, there was a really wonderful story about the event in the Palm Springs Post. And if you're not familiar with the Palm Springs Post, I really encourage you to check it out. It is a great web-based news source, and they've been giving us some great coverage, and we really appreciate the partnership. In fact, their editor, Mark Talkington, is in our audience this evening. So thank you, Mark, for covering that event and always doing a great job representing what's happening here in the district. I did want to make a few comments about some things that are on the board agenda. So the first is, if you've looked closely, you'll notice that there are 3 separate contracts for a company called Vitrac. And Vitrac is a company that we are using to do testing for COVID-19. And we also work with them to do contact tracing, as well as staffing our care rooms across the district. We have separate contracts with this company because they're separate services, but I just wanted to point out that they are all throughout the agenda. The largest contract is for our rapid COVID testing, which again, they are the people who are doing the testing when I so proudly say we offer testing to staff, students, and families. And so their contract is coming up for approval later this evening. And then in the consent agenda, we've increased the amount of the contract to extend their services for contact tracing and also to ensure that we continue to have high quality staff working with us from Vitrac. So you'll see those contracts this evening. And again, that's something I know we're all very proud of. There's also in the board packet, in the board agenda, a resolution for the district to have the ability to hold remote board meetings if necessary. This is required for us if we needed to go back to a Zoom board meeting, which I know January's numbers were making everyone nervous. We would be required, you would be required as a board to approve this every month. So I'm recommending that we do that for the foreseeable future, just to continue to give ourselves flexibility. So we will be bringing that resolution forward this evening, and that would cover us for February. And then at the next meeting on the 22nd, we will bring another resolution that would then be for March. I also wanted to mention our study session. Thank you, President Girardi, for your comments about that. It was an excellent study session with the board really discussing our trustee area redistricting. The board will be voting at the February 22nd meeting on the trustee areas. And I just wanted to share that I have been sharing that information out publicly. In fact, last night was the most recent example. I was very honored to be invited to attend the APAC, our African American Parent Advisory Council meeting, and there were excellent presentations on some local history, a great discussion about slavery quilts, and then I was able to review the trustee area redistricting project, as well as answer some parent questions about COVID and student exclusion. So I appreciate APAC's partnership with the district, and I appreciate the invitation last night, especially because I got to also talk about the trustee areas. So with that, I'll turn it back over to President Girardi.
Thank you, Dr. Sweezy. That brings us to item 15, board action items. 15A is approval of authorized signatures, OE6. May I get a motion to approve, please?
Move for approval.
How about a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Items 15B is approval of declaration and finding for temporary staffing flexibilities, OE 4.12. May we get a motion to approve, please?
I motion.
Who made that motion?
I motion.
I don't believe you can. Since you're a non-voting member, I don't believe you can.
Then I move for approval.
I'm second.
You want to third it, Kiana? You're on the record. Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. 15C, approval of monitoring report, governing policy, operational expectations, asset protection, OE7, and I believe Dr. Signore is going to address this.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Girardi. It's a pleasure to provide the board this report on OE7 on asset protection. This is relative to 2020-21 data. And as you're aware, OE7 is a compilation of data and collaboration with our colleagues in several departments. So I'd like to thank our colleagues in maintenance and operations, technology services, business services, and of course our risk management team. They all did a great job in helping us provide the information relative to this report. We also have Renee Brunel here this evening. She was instrumental as well in providing relevant information for this report, and she will provide an update on our workers' compensation program, and will also be available to answer any questions that the board may have relative to this report. So just to start as a whole, we are submitting OE7 as being in compliance. And I'd just like to take a few minutes to summarize some of the key elements of the report, but I'm not going to go through every single piece in detail. So number one, policy number one, superintendent will maintain property and casualty insurance coverage on district property with limits equal to 100% of replacement value. And this policy is to ensure that the district has insurance to replace property as needed at the time of loss. So through our Southern California Relief, SCR, which is our Joint Powers Authority, we have purchased property and liability insurance, and our coverage addresses all replacement costs for a total insured value of over $770 million. The cost of this policy to the district is $1.9 million. So policy number one, again, in compliance. As far as next one I'd like to highlight is policy number 4. The superintendent will protect intellectual property, information, files, records, and fixed assets from loss or significant damage. This policy addresses copyrights and trademarks for any original district material, as well as protecting student and staff records that must be kept indefinitely, as well as provide insurance coverage in case of loss or damage. During the 2020-21 school year, we didn't have the need to copyright any district material, and we did not have any breach of confidentiality with personnel or student files. Nonetheless, our memorandum of coverage declarations provides up to $10 million for data breach of what's considered valuable papers or records such as student files. So again, policy number 4 being in compliance. Next, I'd like to summarize.
Dr. Cindere, could you go back to number 3?
I'm sorry?
Could you go back to number 3, just the bonding?
Oh, I can go to, I wasn't summarizing that one, but I can.
Oh,
Did you have a question on
I
number
just
3?
had a question as to, it says that all personnel would be bonded. Are we bonding our personnel who handle ASB and USB funds?
That is correct, isn't it? Yes. Yes, the answer is yes.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Okay. Policy number 5, the superintendent may not allow facilities and equipment to be subject to improper use or insufficient maintenance. This policy focuses on the proper use and maintenance of our facilities and equipment, including providing appropriate training for our personnel. Our business services and maintenance and operations department did a great job of maintaining our vehicles, mowers and trailers as well, in order to provide uninterrupted service to the district. Further supporting this policy are the numerous trainings our risk management department has facilitated. They provided over 54,000 online trainings district-wide. So again, policy number 5 being in compliance. And then in just quick summary, policies 6 through 9, these policies demonstrate that the superintendent did not unnecessarily expose the district to legal liability, nor were any legal or unethical decisions made relative to the purchase or sale of real estate. You'll recall that although OE7 does not specify nor require an update on workers' compensation, we have provided this addendum since it does provide important information for the board's consideration. So to highlight these main points, I'm going to turn it over to Renee Brunel. To Renee.
I'm all hung up. All right. Sorry. Too many masks. Good evening, members of the board and cabinet. The special report for work comp was added about 8 years ago, and we've always gone over some of the things that are happening in the work comp world. So we went from $2.85 per $100 in payroll in 2019 to $3.08 per 100 in payroll for the 2021 year. This was an increase of 7.9%. But it's important to note that our payroll dollars went up. We increased our payroll dollars by 1.4%, which was $185 million, over $185 million. You will, though, see a slight decrease for this next coming year. So in July of 2019, the district ranked number 7 out of 21 school districts in our JPA, which is the Riverside School Risk Management Authority. And we are now number 6, which means we increased our losses, so we moved up. But I can say that we are dropping that, and we will have a flat rate for this coming year. And we were number 3 about 5 years ago, so I have to say we are going in the right direction. And the district is also part within the JPA of the No Member Left Behind program, and this program focuses on the districts that have the highest number of work comp rates and cost. And we get special attention, and we focus on the areas where we need to try to prevent any type of future claims in specific departments, and we focus on those departments, just like the trainings that Tony mentioned, with trainings and on-site visits and looking at how we can prevent any type of workers' comp training for all of our staff. So that it's a good program. It's been effective for us. It'll help us reduce our work comp insurance cost. And then as of June 30th, 2021, we had 44 workers' compensation claims. It's a low number. However, the costs of the claims were over $272,000. And, claims still develop over time because as people go to the doctor, there may add on more body parts, or the cost may go up. And with COVID, it's been very hard to get people to the doctors, as you know. And so we are working on closing as many of those claims as we can and trying to shut them down so that we don't have to pay more for them. One of the things to also note is during this time, we had our essential workers at work doing jobs such as our custodial staff, our nutrition services staff, and those are where most of our claims were coming from during the past year. They were doing a lot of heavy lifting, so to speak, and that's where most of those claims came from. And we also had, we were open with our essential workers most of the time here on a day-to-day basis. And then under new legislation last year, we had to go ahead and report all of our positive COVID cases. And so last year, we reported 102 positive cases. These did not turn into workers' comp claims. We have to report them. We had no workers' compensation claims that came from COVID that were reported last year. We currently, right now, we have 5 of them on the books, but they're not gonna lead to anything or develop into any type of claim. So I hope. So with that, the last thing, which is the program I'm the most proud of, is our Return to Work program. This program was developed to have workers that are on modified duty and have work restrictions, where we would modify them and either put them in their department doing different types of duties and not working around their restrictions, but we bring them back to work. We keep them whole. They're not under the workers' compensation payment, and we're not paying them for 7 days a week. We're paying them for the time that they're at work. It's proven to be very successful because we're able to get employees physically at work where they're in some cases want to go back to their old job very quickly. So it's shown lots of improvement. And that last year we saved over $46,000 by having those employees do modified work in different departments. We would send them, an example would be we could have somebody in either custodial or in security where they can't be working their regular duties, and we would put them in reprographics, or we would put them at the warehouse. Or currently, right now, I have them helping with our testing, so setting up the forms and doing all of that where they're doing work, and it's work that we need to be done, needs to be done, and they end up getting better, and we get them back to work, and they don't lose any time, and it's very effective. So I'm really proud of that program. We've had that for a while, and it's saving us money, and it's saving us our workers' compensation rates. That's the end of my bullets.
And I also just think it's worth noting that as a board and the whole district knows, the pandemic has presented a whole different level of challenges. But Renee and her team have done an outstanding job in spite of all that, and continue to do so. So that concludes our OE7 report.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions? No? Well, I got to ask about our ranking.
Our ranking?
6 out of 21.
Yes.
And I guess 1 is worst and 21 is best.
Correct. And we've been moving down the rung, although we moved up this last year because we were one of the few districts that were open with essential workers. Most of the other 21 districts, they shut down completely. I mean, they really had nobody physically on their premises. But we were serving food and loading buses and, just working on the maintenance, moving furniture, getting the classroom set up. We continually work through the whole period of time, and you need people to do the work, and things happen.
Right. I'm just curious, though. I mean, we're pretty good at most things we do. Have we tried to identify any particular areas that possibly need more resources or additional training or anything like if we compared ourselves to other districts, where are we lagging? Where are the problem areas, I guess? And you don't have to tell me. I just wonder if we're going through that exercise and have identified any.
Yeah, we do. For every time we have an issue, an incident or work comp claim, we look at where the root cause of the problem was, what it was, what it was caused by. In some cases, if you have, a teacher that has a kid, they step on a kid or trip over a student, or if you have in security, if they're trying to break up an altercation, we look at all of those things and we try to evaluate the root cause and how we could step in and try to be more preventable. Like our paraprofessional department, we've started a 7-series training program with them to help mitigate things when they're dealing with students, and how to get them well trained on even moving students and doing things like that. So every time we have a claim, we look at the root cause of it and how we can be more preventable, whether it's training, whether it's sending someone out there to look at what exactly happened, if the premises are okay, if the property's okay, was it something wrong with the flooring or anything like that.
I guess my question is a little more globally. I'll pick on Joan. If our public relations department is experiencing more claims than Corona Norco, I mean, are we identifying like that? Then we can focus on public relations.
One person.
'Cause I couldn't figure out a department to pick on except yours. Looking at it that way, comparing ourselves to the benchmarks out there, and figuring out, okay, we need to focus on this particular area or this department, what needs to be done.
And we do that throughout the JPA as a group. In the JPA, we have safety committee meetings at the JPA, and we evaluate what's our biggest injury, where are most of our injuries coming from. Is it slips, trips, and falls? That's really the big one right now. People are slipping and tripping and falling on stuff. Are they, we'll look at all of those things and we'll evaluate them and come up with, right now, evaluations and checkoff lists that we can do. Audits, we've been doing that. We, in fact, are doing a current audit right now just to evaluate certain sites to make sure there's no workers' compensation possible injuries. And we do that audit every other year, by the way, so we haven't stopped doing that.
Thank you, Renee.
You're welcome. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it.
That concludes, and I would concur with Mr. Girardi, public information does need an area of more focus, so we'll provide Joan Boyko all the training she needs. So.
Our PR department. All right, no other discussion? Can we get a motion, please, to approve this item? We already have it?
No, we didn't move for approval.
I have a motion. How about a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item 15D, approval to award P0075610 to Vitrac Health Incorporated for district-wide COVID-19 PCR and rapid antigen test administration, processing, reporting, results, and appointment setting for district-wide testing. OE 6.2. Can we get a motion for that?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussions or questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That motion passes. Item 15E, approval to award bid number 02-22, the Desert Hot Springs High School gym flooring replacement, OE 6.2. May we get a motion for item 15E?
Move for approval?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Anybody have any comments or questions?
Do we know when that would be, like, started and approximate finish date?
The goal is to start it this summer, and actually before the summer starts, so we can try to finish it before the summer. It's really a huge project, and so our goal is to start on it as soon as we can. So that's our plan right now, to have it ready to go for the fall.
Great, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item 15G, adoption of resolution number 2021/2022-83, authorizing remote teleconference meetings for the period February 1, 2022 through February 28th, 2022. May we get a motion for this item?
Move for approval.
We have a motion. How about a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Dr. Sweezy explained this in his comments. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Item
Sorry.
15H, approval of expulsion case.
John,
G.
we missed F. 15F.
Oh, man,
Or
I'm on
G.
a roll tonight, aren't I? At least I'm consistent. We have to go back to item 15F. I apologize, everybody.
Okay.
Adoption of resolution number 2021/2022-81, approval to award RFP number 22-01, E-rate for internal fiber replacement upgrade, internal connections, network electronics, and internal connection firewall, Palo Alto. This pertains to OE 6.3. May I get a motion, please?
Moved.
Second?
Second.
A motion, a second. Anybody have any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you for bringing me back to that. Item 15H, approval of expulsion case 2021/2022-27, recommendation and findings of fact and conclusion of law, OE 11. Could we get a motion with the amendment that we're going to change the split expulsion to a full expulsion?
Move for approval.
We have a motion. How about a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. 15I, approval of expulsion case 2021/2022-28, recommendation and findings of fact and conclusion of law, OE-11. May we get a motion for that?
Move for approval.
We have a motion. How about a second? please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. That brings us to item 16, superintendent's consent item. This is where we're going to move and vote on items 16A through 16H, unless somebody would like an item pulled. Otherwise, can I get a motion for the consent items, please?
So moved.
How about a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. Item 17, board consent item. 17A is approval of meeting minutes for January 25th, 2022. May I get a motion?
Move for approval.
How about a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Item 18 is an information item. 18A, submission of early Head Start and Head Start reports per requirements for the Head Start Act for October and November 2021 OE 10.1, and that report has been submitted.
I have a question
Certainly.
about, there's quite a few empty spots in our Head Start. Is there something that can be done, or I'm sure there is being done, to see if those spots can be filled, or is it too late for the school year?
It isn't necessarily for the school year, but we do have quite a few empty spots, like more than half of what the capacity is. So our ECE department and Myra Costa, they're working very hard out there communicating with families, but the enrollment is very low right now.
Okay, thank you.
Item 19, suggestions for future agendas. Does anybody have a suggestion? Seeing none. Item 20, setting the next board meeting. The next board meeting will be, regular board meeting will be on February 22nd, 2022 at 6 p.m. Item 21 is a debrief. Anybody have anything they'd like to talk about?
I just want to ask our student board members, is there anything you'd like to add in closing that you might have forgotten or want to say? And we appreciate you being here, but, you know, we've just completed the board meeting, and you might be pondering something that you wanted to say. So here's your chance. Sophia?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I think it's really great how you guys have been distributing the rapid tests to students. It's been a big help on campuses, and students love getting them. They really do. A lot of them say that they're even like excited to take them, which is pretty adorable. And in our HEAL class too, we were packaging them the first time we got them sent out, and that was a fun little project also. It was like a little exercise, and it was nice to put some of the stuff we're learning into action. So overall, I really appreciate you guys doing that, and I think it's been a big help. So thank you. And I'm glad you ordered more.
Kiana?
I would just like to say the same thing as Sophia. We really appreciate what you guys do for us and the whole like school community. Thank you.
You know, I apologize for not asking this earlier, but from a student's perspective, what do you think about the start times?
I am very jealous that they did not happen when I was still in school. I remember hearing about it a couple years back, and I was like, oh, I hope that happens when I'm still at school. Nope. But it'll be great later on. The only thing that's ever concerned me is with sports and after school activities, because I'm sure they'll be done much later, which I think gives students less time in the long run, because then you go home and you're just going to stay up an hour or two longer to do your work anyways. But I mean, nobody likes waking up early, and especially I know we have 0 period, so I think it helps a lot with students having more time to sleep in and such. So I think it's excellent.
Thank you.
Hopefully it works out well. I don't see how it couldn't.
My opinion on it, I thought it was like really late. I don't know. Like for me in sports, considering like we would get out later and we would have to leave during lunch, and then we'd miss like 2 important classes at the end of the day. I feel like that would really affect us as students. And what she said, we would have to stay up an hour or two longer to complete the homework. I feel like, I know it's like a state law to change them, right? So I feel like we should stay at normal time, 8 o'clock, and the same times as we are, but it is what it is. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. It's the students that have to live it, so I appreciate your perspective on that.
Just have one more thing. Just one more thing. As we're here up before the public and in the board seats, you don't have a chance to see all the people behind the scenes. So throughout these months and these past 2 years and most difficult times, we've had interpreters, bilingual interpreters, ASL, security support, behind the scenes technology, YouTube, administrative support, Erica and Monica. And we just want to extend our sincere gratitude for all of you still coming and helping us set up, spread out, change the settings, make this all workable and safe for all of us. So thank you again.
With that, can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
So, go ahead. So moved.
Can we get a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We are adjourned. Thank you all very much for being here.